Working? Kind of, yes. Jolly good. Again, getting so hot sitting here. Weird, weird, weird. So I'll just arrange my stream a bit more. Hello. Anyone who might be watching. How on earth did I arrange it yesterday? Why don't I remember that? I could make this bigger, yeah? The painting bit. Okay, it's that big, just about. And I could have this quite big too. Because today we're going to show a film, so to speak. Hello, Gabsy. Sorry for the messy look, I'm rearranging stuff. How are you today? And I didn't even realize that super short stream, like just over 1 minute, had been uploaded until Mando commented on it earlier, like half an hour ago or so. So then I watched it and I saw that a few guys like you and Leif were had come in and commented. I hadn't seen that at all because to me it looked like the stream hadn't started. I guess you were aware of that before. Welcome, Sonny. I have a treat for you today, Sonny. At least I think you'll like it. I have finally edited my Akihabara video. If you have time to see it, I shall show it. It's about just over 20 minutes long, maybe like 23. And I think you will like it. I just want to find something to put down in there in the lower right corner because it looks empty, don't you think? What on earth? Oh, like 2 really tiny pictures? What do we have here? That's my web page. Do we want that? I mean, I guess it works, kind of. But it's so tiny that will that be meaningful? Okay, you seem keen, so we'll do that as soon as I have arranged this. I want to put something else there. Yeah, let's just take this picture here and change it to something different, and then I'll be there. Let's see. I mean, this one's quite nice. Which version do I choose? Why does it have a border? Hello? Yes, there we are. That looks nice. It's also thematic. 2 pictures of the same creature. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't see Gabsy's comment there. Doing Java programming for school. Did you finish that project where you had to find a client and build an app for them? It seemed crazy. Serious. You know what, Sonny? I'm just going to start that video. Let me switch it out here. And we'll have it looping today. Let's hope it works. I hope I didn't promise too much, but I mean, I've checked it. It should work. Bang! Yes, it does. There are some cuts in it, but like 3. But otherwise, it's a continuous walk of about 23 minutes or so. So that is Akihabara. But don't worry, you'll see all the stuff you think is there, and probably more. Just entering right there. You're building that app right now. Interesting. Oh, nice, Sonny. Looking forward to seeing how that turns out. I'm going to be painting shelves. Well, yeah, shelves and books and stuff. It's going to be so much more fun than, well, it's going to be as fun as painting that little corner was yesterday, but with more detail. This entire corner, I'm going to fill it with books and trinkets and whatnot. Let's have fun. Yes, Akihabara is a very interesting place. Sometimes it's a bit too interesting, and that's why I made the cuts, so to speak. You'll have to go there yourself to find out. There's lots of books. Bukes. I'm almost entirely set up here. I'm just going to mold this thing which holds my painting stick. My stick of color. Staff of Creativity. That's a good name for it. It's this PVC rod. Staff of Creativity. That sounds so great. It's one of my most trusted tools. It gets precious little attention. Oh, come on. Be the shape I want, please. And then we're going to take off this jacket, because it's a shirt or whatever you want to call it. Front view. I mean, you could, of course. I mean, okay, so I'll say yes to that front view. Okay. So we start by mixing the bookcase color, or a bit more of it. There's still some left from yesterday, quite a bit actually. I might not have to mix much color at all here. I'll just sort of fill up so that I have plenty. What's your app about, if you don't mind telling, Gabsy? I mean, if you're busy, don't feel compelled to sit here and explain that to us. But if you want to, I'm curious. Is what I wanted to say. Do I need more red paint? I think I might. Hello. This is a sort of an intro. Very soon about to step out into the peculiarity that is Akihabara. The central parts of Akihabara, at least. This brush seems to need a little bit of water. Please give me a few moments to attend to that. Program in which you can create flowcharts in it, and it will attempt to translate to pseudocode. Really? Wow, that sounds impressive. Wow, that sounds really advanced, actually. At least to me. And hello, Leif. Welcome. I'm just about to start painting here. It's great timing. I just had to wash a couple more brushes, and I just did, so paint is mixed and everything's ready. So here we go. Move things into place like so, yes. So exactly where do we start? How are you today, Leif? I knew it. Yes, that's right. That's what I wanted to start with. I remember now. So, bit back there. So, can you guys see? No, you can't. Here, behind the handrail, you can see that there's an indication of a painting there, but it's all just plain gray behind here. I'm going to give an indication there, because actually, beyond that, we have prepared this section so that I've indicated all the bookshelves back there, for example. So we're going to do the backgrounds here, and who knows, start doing the final version of the stairs, like the colored, completely final version of the stairs. We shall see. For now, we'll do this, and then I probably color in those shelves, and then we'll start doing more interesting stuff. Oh, you had surgery. I hope that went well. It seems it did. I'm happy about that. And that sounds like a great way to relax afterwards. So enjoy this stream to whatever extent you want. That's why it's here. That's the point. Actually. Well, if you manage to send it, don't hesitate, Sonny. Do I have to sneeze, really? Can I finally get to paint? Welcome, Noyes! And by the way, I noticed that my stream yesterday was kind of fuzzy. At least the the painting video bit. I hope we'll manage to correct or you know, avoid that today. Actually, I'm going to try to avoid gleam. Yes, that's better, right? Not so much of a glare from my lights here. Patriotic clothing. I hope it is to your liking. Well, I'd say that's good enough for now. Let's go to these shelves. Sort of bothers me that it didn't color them in yesterday. I guess I started getting fed up with this section yesterday. And now I remember why I didn't go on. It was so the paint was so wet there, and it seems like it's still wet to some extent. You can touch it and feel. Ah, I could smudge it, but it's probably a bit better. So let's go. Poor Adam. Didn't you tackle him yesterday too? Well, at least you mentioned it. Adam tackling. Oh, this is tricky. I really placed the camera in the way right now. God, I'm going to lower it just a tad. Come on. I know there's a bit of a glare, but not the part I'm going to paint, at least. Just there. Got a lot of work done today as well. Some stuff about the computer convention. At least, you know, I did some research and sent some emails. Rather an email, really. I'm hoping to get a hold of someone who can hold a lecture for those who are curious. I'd actually like to have 2 lectures. The movie you mentioned, I haven't had time, so no. But don't worry, I will. I was very productive today, which meant I had very little time for other stuff. I mean, I'm still being productive. Although I had just had a break, like dinner and such. This is a bit tricky to paint with all these lines in the front, but I wonder, I'll just draw full lines here actually. This is weird, you know, having spent some time on these vertical lines and then painting over them, but I think we're going to get the best looking shelves doing this. doing it this way. So I'll sacrifice my previous work. Sorry, I'll try to paint over here a little bit, see if to what extent the paint has dried. Not very much. I can try to paint this ladder, I guess. At least give it a little bit of color. So, considering how wet this paint is, it's painting this area will probably have, finishing this area here will probably have to wait a few more days at least. Don't worry, we have plenty else, plenty of other stuff to paint, other areas, like shelves over there and all that stuff down here, so we're not lacking. Used to describe a floor that is just a single layer without any furnishings. Let's say plain, unclad. I guess plain. Unadorned. Hello, Connor. Welcome. And thank you. It's a detail of a large painting I'm making. You can see it in the background of many of my videos and streams, because I've been having it in the background for a very long time, almost the entire year. Having started it early in the year and then had a long break. Trying to get some serious work done on it now. Oh, I should have painted this bit dark grey first of all. This is a messy part of the painting. I'm just going to accept that. I won't bore you too much with ladders and and shelves today. Let's do that and move on. Yes. Maybe I'll get back to do a little bit of stuff there later. But for now, let's get to some fun parts. Or a bit more fun at least. Seems Sonny knows you. I can't. Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't remember you, Connor. Have you been here before? I'm really sorry if you have and I don't remember. Don't know if you're addressing Sonny or me. I'm great. Thank you very much. How are you? I hope you're well. Okay. Well then. Well, very, very welcome here to the stream. I seem to perceive that you're an artist as well from your comment. If you want to, feel free to share what it is. I mean, tell us what kind of art you make. if you're wondering, this is you know what? As soon as I finish this frame, I'll zoom out a bit and show you the entire painting and explain what it is, and you know what it is and what its purpose is. It won't take long. I say finish the frame. I'm just sort of putting on basic color there, fundamental. We're going to put in much more detail here. So if I zoom out, or meaning move the camera. Oops. Sorry. So I'll move this. The Staff of Creativity, recently named. I'll try to move the camera stand too. Oh dear. It's quite large, so it's a bit tricky to show the entire thing. There we go. So this is it's obviously a large hall. It's supposed to be a bookshop. It looks like a library because it's so vast, but it's supposed to be a bookshop. It's a scene from a fantasy novella that I've written and am now illustrating. Yeah, I think that's that's the most succinct explanation I can give. You can read the novella on my webpage if you like, for free. It's there. Although, of course, it's lacking some illustrations. So, it's going to take a long while before it's finished, but at least we're getting somewhere again. As I said, I started working on it early this year, and then I've made other paintings in between, and I've done lots of other things as well. Welcome, Luna. Glad to see you here again. And thank you, Sonny. I think I'll let the video loop a few times because I don't have time to sit and change it or switch it all the time. Switch it out all the time. Although I'll probably switch it out at some point, if I remember to. I think it's interesting enough to view a few times. Thank you, Luna. So, okay. More painting. Everyone seems to be in a good mood and a good and encouraging mood. I like that. For now, let's just put some dark here. So you can see that this is a sort of framework for, obviously, as I said, the bookshop, so there will be lots of shelves everywhere with books and knickknacks on them. And eventually there will be lots of people standing and sitting and walking about in here, but we won't do that for a long while yet. That's the last thing I'll make. At least for every sort of field of depth. So a lot of this painting so far has been just making this framework, this perspective work, and setting up all the background to put things on. But we're getting to the point where I'm putting in detail. That's what I'm going to do now. And first I'm just going to put a sort of generic green color or bluish green color in these frames, because that's something I'm going to do at the very end is come up with tiny paintings to put in these frames. And that's going to be an opportunity to tell some stories in and of themselves. But that's also among the last things we'll do. So I'm going to change the angle of the camera a little bit to try to minimize the glare, and hope I can paint anyway. Oh, thank you, Leif, for promoting my stream. And thank you, Luna, for dropping by. So grateful for that. Yes, as I promised, I'm dedicating 2 streams to at least to painting this week. Maybe more. I'm really enjoying this. I don't see what I would do otherwise on stream. Except I might be playing my games on some stream, and I might be get caught up in coding some days that I won't have time to stream. Who knows? I need to do some coding this week too. I need to. I want to. And there are a few other things I want to try as well. Gabsy, I didn't have time to test. I had to do so much administrative work this morning and early afternoon that I didn't have time to test or test the release version of Untrodden Land, so it's still not available for upload. But I got more done today than I thought I would, so I should have plenty of time for the rest of the days of the week to do such things. I did record a vlog, another one, and yeah, a few other things. So they should start popping up on this channel in well, from today, I guess. I think I'll make the first one available here today. It's been available on my Patreon only since just yesterday, I think. But I have so many to make, but I've already made like 4. Everyone's talking about Connor's art. I'm getting curious. Getting really curious. Do you have a channel here, Connor? I'm getting curious about Sonic Sketch. Can I? Let's see here if I can. No, okay. I don't even remember how to access people's channels. Hello? No. Nope. Nope. YouTube changed its interface recently, so what little familiarity I had with it became nigh on useless recently. I had to refamiliarize myself with everything. I used to be able to just right-click on people's names in chat and get to their channels, but no. What kind of art do you make, Connor? I don't want to force you to talk about it if you don't want to. Never feel forced to talk about anything on this channel. I'm just genuinely curious. Promise. Okay, so now we're going to make a little bit. No, are we? Or are we happy now? I don't know if you can see this. So here are some stuff. Actually, here's some stuff I finished. There's actually a character and some books on the shelves. I painted that ages ago. And this is more recent, but it's still older. I'm just figuring, does this look similar to this? I'm going to have to make a few. It's going to adjust these shelves to look a bit more neat and start putting books on them. I think I might do that in the same go, more or less. Wondering if I just add maybe a little bit of white to that brown to give it a bit more paleness. Oh, white. I say white. I probably mean gray. Because right now they look a bit fakey. They don't look like proper old wooden shelves. They look like someone who thinks all wood is brown painted. You know, chose a wood color. That's pretty much what I did. They should have a bit more flavor, maturity to them. Let's see. There's nothing on your channel. You do some traditional art, trying to get into digital art because I got a drawing tablet. That seems to be a running theme among people who follow me here. A lot of people have started getting into drawing on tablets. I seem to get such messages all the time. I just got a drawing tablet. Sounds interesting. Yes, as you can tell, I'm very much a traditionalist. When it comes to a lot of things in painting. I like my oil painting best, followed by watercolor. Don't really do well. I was going to say I don't really do digital art, but I do make I've made some pixel art for my games, and I will be making more art for my upcoming games too, of course. I can promise that. I'm going to have to write a new program, art program, that can handle the new stuff I want to make, but I still have some things to figure out about graphics programming before I write that, because I wanted to have 3D capabilities, and I'm not quite there yet. Closing in on it, but not quite there yet. I really would like to solve the next step in 3D rendering, but I think it might be a big one. Maybe I'll have time to think about it tomorrow. Like, think about it properly. Try and come up with a... I am indeed working on games, quite a lot. A couple of years ago I started programming with the aim of becoming an independent game developer. I've made 2 games so far. And I'm going to make more. They were mostly practice exercises, but one of them is... I think both of them are really neat ideas. They might not be great games, but I think they're both solid games for what they are. Small one-man efforts. I am in the process of making several... Well, actually, I'm in the process of starting a habit of making vlogs concerning all of my various creative categories, of which there are 4: painting, writing, making games, and fashion design. I made a few, like 4 already. The first one will go live after this stream. Go live on YouTube. I'll make it live later this night, and then you'll be getting lots of them, and I'll be organizing them on the channel as well, so you'll be able to find, you know, if you want to know about my painting and my art, then you'll be able to follow there will be a separate playlist for that, one for fashion, one for coding, one for writing, and I'll be putting updates there all the time, so it'll be much easier to follow along what I'm doing and access that information. I've also rearranged my website to feature more clear information about and more clearly divided information about these various things. So these are my you might say New Year's resolutions to become better at communicating what I do. Sorry about the shakes, and I have my palette there supported partially on my on the camera, on the tripod, so sometimes it's just doesn't work out. it's a, generally speaking, rather precarious situation. Thank you, Luna. I appreciate that a lot. Yes, I'm trying to record something. I recorded something new this morning. So all of my programs so far, at least the ones that people know of, have been done in C++, and I'm probably going to continue making that programs for that. Although I'm also studying assembly language for the Raspberry Pi, so ARM assembly language. Partially because I find the Raspberry Pi to be appealing, and also because I want to learn more about the intricacies of computer architecture and the fundamentals of programming, and assembly language is really good for that. I mean, learning. Whether I want to keep programming in it, I don't, beyond the learning purpose, I'm not sure. But I kind of like it, I have to be honest. So we'll see. Mando, hello! Welcome! It's been ages since I had 7 concurrent viewers on this stream. This is fantastic. It's one of the highest counts. I don't know what the highest was. You sent a picture, Sonny. Okay, I'll be looking at that. Mando, your comment earlier made me realize that stream had gone, that 1 minute stream had gone up. I had no idea. So I looked at that video of my 1 minute 14 second stream, and I saw that Leif and Gabsy had been there, and like, was someone else there too? Like, I think you were there, I guess, or maybe was it Sonny? Just in a matter of like 1 minute, 3 people had logged in and they were chatting, and I wasn't aware of it. So weird. Yes, this is the Mando we were referring to, Connor. That's so weird. So, isn't the full stream up? I have to check that. I'll have to check that later. Anyway, Sonny's drawing. Let's see here. That looks good at first glance. Let's see. I can definitely tell it's him. Nice. So, I'm going to show it. Sonny's been drawing Adam Driver, Kylo Ren, lately. This is her second drawing, at least that she's shown me. I think it looks great. We do, Mando. Sometimes we can't restrain ourselves. It's weird. I did stream last night. I painted for a couple hours. So I'm confused when you say that it's not available. I have to check that. Okay, so books. Let's put some color in here. Some interesting colors, or flashy colors, comparatively speaking, obviously. Let's just start playing around and see what happens. Something there and there. I think I'm going to alter. Yeah, look at. Just going to see what I'm talking about. Comparing. Actually, it might be difficult for you to see, but the dark between the shelves there and there is darker than what it is here. So I guess I should actually adjust that too. I'm sorry, guys. I have to do some shelf darkening or whatever you might call it. It's always best to do these things, before starting to put in details, instead of then going back and trying to paint between the books and books and busts and globes and charts and trinkets. That's no fun, and it never looks as good. Especially, the upper portions of these spaces between the shelves, because that's obviously going to be more shaded. Fantasy stream from yesterday is up. Okay. Yeah, people were wondering if this Connor was your Connor, Mando. Did you send me another message? Oh, you did. Good grief. You're fast. Wow. Yep. Surely is making progress here. Sorry for interrupting the painting, guys. It's I'm showing this quite a lot. He does have a thick neck. I think this might be a tad thick. If you want a bit of advice, I would pull it in slightly. I can't see him, so I can't tell you how much. This is too thick, but I don't know how much. Maybe like that. But this looks much more like Adam Driver than your first sketch. Although, you know, you improved your first drawing greatly. But this one's better from the... Oh yes, this one is much better. Overall. Good job. Yeah, Mando's streams are great. I've really been... like 1 week ago on Monday, I really needed to relax. I think it was Monday or it was Tuesday, I can't remember. The beginning of last week was really weird for me. I was awake in the middle of the night and slept all day and such. But as is often the case. But it was so relaxing and it's so positive. And the same yesterday. Lovely atmosphere, and boy, your drawings are great. It's so nice to, you know, lately you've been doing all these drawings of like full figure drawings or nearly full figure, and you're great at it. It's lovely to see. I really enjoyed seeing you draw and, and just be part of the stream. So nice. And for anyone who's wondering, this is a video that was requested by Sony. Like before I went to Tokyo, she requested I film this. This is Akihabara. I think it's been anticipated, maybe mostly by Sony, but I think by some others here as well. And I tried to show all the interesting bits. Gameplay, interesting, yeah. What kind of games, Connor? Yes, right. By the way, for anyone who's interested, I also stream sometimes on Twitch, and now I try to separate my my art and my game stuff. So I do game stuff, both playing commercial games, playing my own games, and talking about my games and programming on Twitch. Although I might still do that here a bit because not many people follow me on Twitch yet. But that's my plan. I will try to have that distinction. So if you're curious, you might want to head over there. Sometimes I do like announcement streams basically here on YouTube saying I'm going to stream on Twitch in a little while, just because people usually find me here much quicker and easier, seemingly, than on Twitch. So that might be enough, or yeah, it might be enough to follow me here to know when I stream there and stream game content. Oh, thanks for following on Twitter, Connor. Don't stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Well, Sundays, I can't promise anything. I'm sorry. But Sundays is the least likely because I work so many weekends. Yes, Gabsy, stream your Java programming on Mondays. I'm impressed by your endeavor, Gabsy. I am. Sounds like a big job. That's interesting. I haven't actually felt that way about programming at any time. Usually when most of the time, at least when I'm problem solving, when I'm programming, I need to really focus. I have to turn off every outside influence, basically. There are parts I can program with, while listening to music or listening to a YouTube video or something like that. But that's when I know what I want, what I need to do. I've planned it and structured it, and as long as the structure is not too complex either, because sometimes you just need to focus to get the structure right as well. If you need my Twitch, you can go to my... Everyone, if you want to my Twitch, actually, you can go to my webpage. I think my webpage is linked somewhere on this YouTube channel. Otherwise, I'm going to display the... Come on. There's the... I'll try to make that a little bit neater. The address, www.birklaus.com. There are links there to YouTube and Twitch and Instagram. If you want, actually, Connor, I update my Instagram much more than my Twitter. That's where I have the most active following. So if you want news of what's going on, Instagram is a really good bet. And thank you for following. I appreciate it so much. Oh wow, Mando, thank you. Yes, Gabsy, I look forward to seeing more of your... seeing your game development at all. I don't think I've... I remember... Space Cow? And maybe... I think you have shown a picture of one of your other games, but that was long ago. And since you switched platforms and all that, I think that's probably entirely irrelevant nowadays. And if you guys are wondering what I'm doing here is I'm filling in these dark areas, making them darker, and also just making the shelves look a bit lighter, not so thinner, more elegant. They could use it. Do that down there. In oil painting, and I don't know, maybe if you guys do that on digitally as well. One way to make a really thin line in any medium which is opaque, where you can paint one color over another, so not watercolor. You can draw a line and try and make it thin and nice, but you can adjust it, of course, by using painting beside it, the colors that are besides or behind or whatever you want to, however you want to think about it. I do that a lot, especially for really thin, precise lines. You can sort of, it can be it's often much easier to sort of approach a line from the outside than trying to draw a really thin, distinct and even line can be much more difficult than, you know, drawing a decent line and then sort of adjusting it by, you might call it creeping up to it with your brush, you know. It makes easier because you already have something to reference with your eyes, you know, and all that. It's a good tip, I promise. You follow on Twitch too, sweet. I'm so grateful, Connor. I'll try to make it worth your while to follow me, that's for sure. I'll try to get some gameplay in of my games. I made an introduction. I made actually a developer's sort of retroactive developer's vlog on my first game called Untrodden Lands, which will go up in a few days, or soon anyway, where I talk about how I came up with the idea and a little bit about making it. I'm also going to make a video explaining how to play it, because it's I wouldn't say it's super complex, but I think you need some instruction to play it optimally, get the most out of it. Right then, can we put books in now? Do these shelves look good enough for books? Well, they're better than before, that's for sure. I might do a little bit more of that. Creeping here. I'm introducing a lot of new terms today. So I've now baptized this PVC, this hollow PVC rod. It is now the official staff of creativity. It's my hand support that I rest my hand on when I paint, like this when I paint, especially when I paint detailed, tricky stuff, and most of what I paint is that, or very often. Monspeet, indeed. It was interesting to just meet everyone who had been in my stream on Mando's stream yesterday. Or most of them, anyway. It really felt like, you know, it felt like a very close-knit community then. It was more like let's go to another house and hang out. It was interesting. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. After decades of experience, I still managed to dip my arm into my oils on occasion, and other parts of clothing. Or... yeah, that looks awful, but as long as I don't smear anything else. Want another go? So, as I might have mentioned, I think you tried to download Untrodden Lands, Sonny, and it didn't work. But it wouldn't have worked anyway because it's not a release. That was not a release version. I'm working on getting a working version out to people as a free download, if anyone's wondering. I will of course announce when it's available. And to the uninitiated, Monspeet was Sonny's character in my game. The game was originally intended to be played through Stream Chat on stream. It became a bit too complex to do that, or it's still technically possible. Maybe someone will try again at some time. But we had some rather epic adventures. I shall try to recreate the experience at some point. Maybe I learn to make a game that people can actually play, interact with directly. If I learn proper network coding. Don't expect me to do that soon. I'm not focusing on network coding at the moment at all, but I mean, it's tempting. I'm sure I will at some point. I would like to make my games multiplayer. Limited multiplayer, but still. Maybe like 2 to 4 players at the most. Yes, the Barbaric Dwarf Eater was brutal. Which platform? So the 2 games that I made so far, they are Windows games. That means you can play it on PCs if you have Windows running. At least the newer versions. I coded them in Windows 10. Don't know what that means for backwards compatibility with older Windows versions. You might as well ask a frog. I have no idea. I have no clue. As I said, I'm also programming on the Raspberry Pi, although I'm contemplating perhaps not doing so much there, as fewer people have Raspberry Pis than have PCs. But I'm not abandoning the idea yet. Going forward, I'm probably going to code for both machines, or both operating systems, so Raspberry Pi runs Linux, usually. At least for a while yet, I'll be doing both. And I do intend to make lots more games. It's so much fun. Pilgrim Jr., the Valiant Paladin. Oh, right, him, yeah. I'm just making some new shades here, different colors. Need some purple or bluish red at least. Where do I put that? Over here, yeah. Ah! So easy to get too much blue in there, so it looks black almost immediately. There we are. Oh, right. I have to make sure. Please tell me if my hand starts getting in the way of you seeing what I'm doing. I don't want to do that, but I can easily get so engrossed in my painting that I really don't notice things. I've trained myself to look over a chat every so often, but I'm less practiced in checking that I'm not, or checking that my that this image here is okay and that you can see properly. Want to make a small personal VPN using PIS, as I don't trust many of the VPN companies. PIs. What's a PI? Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like I have known what a PI is, or what it stands for at least, but I can Cannot recall what it is now. Oh, it's so familiar. Please teach me. Oh, you mean okay. No, I thought it was something called PIs. Still feels familiar. I get what you mean. That also sounds like a big task. But I don't doubt your ability to do it, or at least your ability to learn how to do it. You seem very dedicated. So why not? You make me want to code. You sent another picture. What have we here? Showing it off. Bzzzt. Ah. What did I smear my painting now? I'm an idiot. I'll do this instead. That's smarter. There we go. Nice. Does he have freckles? I never noticed. I guess he. I mean, okay, I can picture him with freckles, but I shouldn't say that I remember seeing them. That would be a lie. Or noticing them. I probably, if he has them, I've obviously seen them, but I might not have noticed them. That's for sure. And let's see. Let's have some old parchments. Sort of lying on pile here. Birthmarks. I don't know what the difference between birthmarks and freckles are, really. Thought they sort of counted as the same thing. You may indeed send some art, yes. I'll show it. I don't show inappropriate stuff, but but a lot of stuff gets through. So give it a go. I'm very curious to see what you'll send. I mean, okay. Yeah, okay. I see what you mean. Yes. So we don't call those birthmarks in Swedish. That's why I was confused. We call them liver spots, which sounds much less appealing. The shading. Didn't think much of it, or much about it. Hello. It's very faint. It's very subtle. I would go heavier with shading if I were you. Shading can be tricky, so you know, don't be discouraged if you don't get it right the first time. I practiced shading for years before I started to get even a little pleased with it, and I'm still not happy with my pencil shading. I made some pieces that are good, but it's hard. It's much easier when it's easier when you have a reference. That's for sure. And it's really good to practice with a reference to understand how shading sort of works. Oh, thank you again, Connor. You're being so generous with your followers. Yeah, please. I didn't mean to discourage you. Please send pictures. When I said I don't show inappropriate stuff, that was just to sort of be give you a heads up that if it's really gory or very pornographic, then I won't show it. But I'm game for most stuff. Behind your ear. Interesting. How did you manage to find out? Seems like a difficult place to check. I guess someone else could have told you. And I realize you can do it with mirrors, but or taking a picture of yourself. So yes, there are several ways you can do it. It's just still tricky, right? I wonder if someone drops into chat right now. We're talking birthmarks and liver spots. I wonder what they might think. Don't worry. I just find it a curious thing to get into, but it makes sense in the context of discussing art, obviously, especially portraits. Oh, I see. Sorry. Where are you from, Connor? If you don't mind my asking. If you do, never mind. Son is from Holland. Gabs is from the UK. I'm in Denmark. Good night, Leif. Thank you for hanging around. I hope the stream was pleasant. Pleasant background noise to your writing and relaxing. And wish you speedy recovery from your operation. Oh, United States. Mando, I realized that some people probably do. Or I've heard people call them birthmarks, but when I grew up, everyone called them liver spots. So it's still such a weird subject. Thank you, Leif. I'll keep going. To show you some more of this. I mean, it's starting to look more interesting, right? Looks like someone borrowed almost all the books. I'll check it out. Let's see here. Oh, you did on Twitter, I see. How do I... Hmm. It's so weird with Twitter sometimes. No, that was on Instagram. Okay. Accept. Okay. Does it say Maurice? May I show it? It's a cool character. If I may show it, I will. Otherwise, I won't. Two USBs. Marus. Marus or Marus? I guess it's Marus. Okay. It's the character's name. I'm assuming that's an answer to my question. So here goes. This is Connor's character he drew. Oh, yeah. What did you use to color it? Color pencils? Watercolor? Might be, I guess it might be felt tip color pens. Come on, show the color. There we go. One-eyed cat guy. Apparently. Or at least someone who has a cover on one eye. An eye patch is what you call them. Ah. Yeah. That does look better. I like the darker hair. And more shadow. Shading. Sunny. Showing. Ah, that's starting to look really good. When you start to get into this level of when you start to use shading this much, consider that those you started by doing a line drawing, and then you shaded it. Consider that real people don't really have lines in the face. Every line, of course, sometimes there are lines, but the lines are really shadows, and every shadow has different, depth and width, and they can be, gradual and such. So you can start with a line drawing, but then try to make every line part of a shadow, because there are no distinct lines, around anything. If I do like that, there's no black line here. There's shadow, but there's no black outline in reality. So if you it can look really weird with a mix of a line drawing and shadow. And don't worry, probably everyone has done that. I used to do it all the time. Like when you're sort of transitioning from doing line drawings to trying to do more realistic looking drawings with advanced shading. But think about it. think about that when you try next time. If you want to shade, and if you want to shade as seriously as you seem to want to do, try to really go all the way and describe every shape with shading, because that is what you see. What you see is it's the entire shape of a face you see. All the shapes in the entire world that you see are based on like the volumes. That's based on light and shadow, bright reflection, or very little reflection, also known as shadow. It's a huge step to take, so it's probably going to take some time, but with practice you'll get there. Let's see, what have people said? Markers, yes, okay, yeah, that's basically felt tip, alcohol felt tip markers. I hope you'll find your USB memory sticks, whatever you call them. What do you call them? USB keys? You said wolf. I don't. Connor. Oh, it's a wolf boy. Okay, I get it. Sorry. I associated cat immediately. It's just I was just assuming his tail was tucked behind his legs or something. Yeah. If you have more drawings of him, you can send them. I'll try to get some painting done myself now. But thank you for sending your drawings. Thank you, Sonny and Connor, for sharing. Sorry, everyone, for getting distracted. Right, flash drives, thank you. That's what in Sweden we call them, keys, like USB keys. Obviously in Swedish, but still. But USB is the same. And don't ask me why we call them keys. We do. We just do. And sometimes we call them like pins. Wow. Let's see. Yep. I do think it looks better. Yeah, best it's going to get. I think that's true. I think you should, if you want to apply those things I said, you should probably do it on a new drawing. Ah, wow, really developed his character. Cool. Not entirely sure what bobbed tail means. You say it was cut off. If you would teach me what bobbed tail means, I'd be grateful. Or anyone. Is it the way it's styled? Or does it just mean that it's shortened, cut off? The way you use Swedish is so different from me. I call it USB and I say birthmark. And so both I and Mando are Swedish, and two reasons why we might speak somewhat differently. We are from very, very separate, very distant parts from each other in Sweden. I'm from the very south. Mando is, I guess, the middle or just north of the middle. That's quite a bit away. And I've lived in Denmark for the last 12 years. So my Swedish might be tainted with Danish. Danish and Swedish are basically different dialects of the same language, but there are curious differences, especially like expressions. And I think I've picked up a few Danish ones and maybe forgotten a few Swedish ones. So if you're going to, if you need Swedish lessons, maybe ask Mando rather than me. I believe she's more often right than I am, as with regards to what's normal. That's good. So nice of Mando to to look out for you, Sonny. And you did very well today. That was a good drawing, and you improved it very well. So you should be pleased with that. Yes, okay, Connor. I'll learn something new. Right, something. Come on. It's so annoying to get hair on your palette, because it's of course super annoying when it interferes with your picking up or mixing colors, or if it ends up on your canvas. That really sucks. I'm really having an excellent time, guys. Thank you. I have sort of neglected the right side here. So many shelves to fill with books. Does Luna stream regularly? I'm guessing you mean operating system, Luna? What are you getting? Okay, that's a weird thing. It's cool to have two different colors on your brush. It's a very cool effect, but it's not really what I want. Ow. I remember seeing on television as a kid a documentary about people making only Mando will get this Dalahästar, and which is it's a kind of well, mostly a tourist souvenir from a specific part of Sweden, which it is famous for. It's so famous that it sort of becomes synonymous with Sweden. So you can probably buy them on most Swedish international airports, for example. Actually, I believe you can buy them in Copenhagen at the tourist shops, sort of associated with Scandinavia. There's wooden horses, painted wooden horses, and they're usually painted a basic color. White and red are very common, and gray, I guess, and black, maybe black too. And then they have like little quasi-floral patterns on them. Often multicolored, and I remember seeing these guys, actually it was women dipping their brushes in like 4 different colors. Different parts of the brush was, I guess they started with one end and then sort of angled the brush to get different colors on it, on every part. So it had like 3 to 4 different colors, and then they did this really beautiful, obviously very practiced strokes that seemed to come out perfect every time, like zip, little leaves and petals. And it looked so amazing with just one stroke, getting this multicolored petal, whoop, just appear almost magically, or seemingly magically, onto the lacquered equines. Let's see, you say Windows 7 support ends tomorrow, so you'll get Windows 10. Okay. I see. I'm not sure, but I might even consider that to be a positive thing. I have Windows 10 already on both my Windows machines, but I would kind of like not having Windows support bothering me all the time. I think just leave me alone, let me do my stuff. I enjoy working on my. I have a desktop and a laptop and a Raspberry Pi, and only the desktop is connected to the internet. The other two are internet free, and it's such a relief to be on them because they don't bother me with annoying messages. I like that. They shut up and let me work. They start up like nobody's business. No bloatware. Well, I guess the laptop has a little tiny bit of bloatware, but very little. So it's super fast to start up. It's such a breeze to use. That's how computers used to be in the olden days. And I was a mere lad. Before Windows. Windows 3.1 was fine, in my opinion. I wasn't very old then, so. But I do remember using Norton Commander and other such basic operating systems. I'm not even sure Norton Commander counts as an operating system. It was maybe more like a sort of file handler. Maybe that's what they call it, or something similar. Super basic. Just it let you. It was imagine a DOS prompt with a thin visual veneer on top. Let's see here. Sonny says, Storm was a success. My challenge to tackle add-on driver's face is not over. No, it shouldn't be. I look forward to many more. I look forward to seeing more of those. He has a lovely face. I'm not sure I ever used Windows 8 on, or I had any machine with it on, so can't have an opinion, I'm afraid. Although I've heard others say similar things, so it seems legitimate. Hope you're not bored of me painting spines of books yet, because we still have a few more to go. It's very easy to do this. It's delightful because this part of the painting is getting more interesting by the moment. But it's really the only thing, the only real difficult thing is to choose the color and where to put the books to achieve a sort of natural looking dispersion of various colors. You will 2020 a year of the Adam Driver faces. That's a huge challenge, Sonny. Thank you, Luna. I appreciate that. And all this talk of computers, and Gabs is sitting there. Clicking away at his keyboard, producing code. It gets me inspired. I want to do it myself. Can't help it. It's weird to have discovered something that I'm this passionate about this late in my life. Because I discovered painting almost right away. You know, as very almost as soon as my life began, I thought, ooh, you can paint. Sweet. That's what my life's going to be about, or a very huge chunk of it anyway. And I can't say that I found anything that I was as passionate about. Well, a few things, but I still found, I'd say, all of those things in childhood or as a youth at the latest. But now, in my late 30s, to be this drawn in by something, it's thrilling. I feel so much behind, you know. Kind of wish I'd started earlier. Obviously, I could have known more about it by now. I've been able to learn quite a lot during the short time I've been doing it. So I have every reason to believe I'll be able to learn all the other things I want to know as well. Although it will be, I also know it's going to be a struggle for some of them. You are currently upside down. Oh, we'll support you, Sonny, don't worry. If you make good drawings, I'll show them on stream. By the way, one reason I wanted to program on the Raspberry Pi was setting up programs on Windows just bugged me so much. There's so much stuff that you have to do it the Windows way. I don't like that. I don't like being funneled. Oh, there we go. So, Connor, you sent another picture. I don't get it. You say it's from a game, but did you make this? Because it looks great. Look, it looks very different from your other drawing. You say it's from a game. Is it a game you made? I'll show it if you made it. Let's see what you guys talking about. Notes for me drawing on art notes book. You use engines like Unreal 4 and Godot. Yeah, okay. Oh, you mean with relative to Windows? I see. Yeah. I guess I'll basically have to learn if I want to have a big audience for my games. You know, Windows is the way to go because that's what everyone uses. But the thing I like about programming assembly language is so you get to make your own solutions. You know, don't get me wrong. You have my assembly programs still run on on Linux, so you have to do some things the Linux way, but so far it's much less than Windows. Much less, and I feel much more in control. That's so appealing. That is so very appealing. And congratulations, Gabsy. I'm sure you did good work. You should reward yourself. You made the design, but you didn't draw it. Okay, I'll show it. College was cheaper. It's okay that you write messages, but it's easier if you write in chat because then I don't have to read them out loud. It'll be confusing for people if I answer things that you say in DMs. It's not a complaint. It's just a heads up. I'll show the design since you were responsible for the design. I will show this. This is the design Connor made, which we showed earlier. Used in, you said it was a game, so I guess some friend of yours made a game and used your design. I'm sorry that it doesn't focus well. It doesn't show the facial detail well. I think you get the gist though. This looks really nice. It's no problem, Connor. Just a heads up. Thank you for sharing that. Ah, now. Now I start cramping. Just allow me to stand up for a little while. At least not sit. Or sit differently. For just a teensy little while. Never have had a game to put them in I ever finished, so some of them are deleted or on the Pi. Huh? Are you talking about some pixel art you made? Sonny knows the game? I'm not entirely surprised because I know you like those kinds of characters, but what are the odds? Cool. I'm sorry, I'm sitting differently, so I can't paint right now. I just need to rest my bottom. Uh, it started to cramp. So, taking a breather, as it were. You're the one who introduced it. I guess you mean the game to them. So you guys have met before somewhere? I am confused. Oh, okay. What's the name of the game? I'm looking now at this here. Can you see this sort of bright gray line there? I kept it because I thought it was supposed to be something significant, but now I can't really make out what it's meant to be. Maybe it's not supposed to be there. You know, in such a complex painting, it's easy to forget what all the things are, or some of the things are at least. So sometimes I discover something and go, well, what's that? Why is it there? I don't think it's supposed to be there actually. Let's see here. Sonny lives in the Netherlands while I live in the UK. We plan to meet later in... Okay. Gacha Life. Oh, so that's the name of the game? Gacha Life? Okay. Back to painting. How long have I been streaming? Ah, whoa, nearly 2 hours. Does not feel like 2 hours, I can tell you that. Time has been flying past. This is the middle ground. Really? Cinnamon roll is very cute. Thank you so much for hanging out. It was great, Mando. Great seeing you here. Look forward to your next stream that I catch. Sleep well, Mando. Yeah, I don't know about tomorrow. Maybe I will drop by tomorrow because I think I might be coding tomorrow and not streaming, or at least like streaming late. So I'll try. I'll certainly try to come by tomorrow. It sounds nice. Forgive me. And I'm confused. You guys are going to move in together? Where? When? Maybe I shouldn't ask too much. It was surprising to me though. Or is it in something you're doing in a game? It sounds interesting. I think hanging out in Mando's stream and working on the side is very nice, very enjoyable. So I will if I can. Okay, like a whole row of black books there. Real life. Wow. Okay. So who's moving? Or where are you going to live? In what nation? Again, only answer if you feel like it. I don't want to pry. Wow. So, yesterday I felt really sleepy, and I obviously was. Today my body seems to be telling me that it's starting to wind down, but I don't really feel sleepy or tired right now. I feel as alert as ever, which is odd. I didn't sleep much. I didn't sleep much last night either, and still I've been so active and productive today. Well, except when I went to the gym, which wasn't a bad session, but it was. I could tell my body hadn't recuperated properly since last time. It was good training, but just limited. It went sort of, lift that if you have to, but just not too many times. Was basically my body's reaction. Don't go overboard. Let's go home and have pancakes instead. And so I did. It's important to be good to your body. Let's see here. In about 2 years, you're going to move to. Later on, I'm too young to own a house. Sonny is. I guess you mean Sonny is moving in the United States of America. VR chat. What on earth does that mean? Does it mean virtual reality chat? Okay. I had made no assumption, but now I know. You seem to have similar interests, so it seems like a good idea. I'm sorry if that sounds unromantic. I mean it then. I believe it's very important to have similar interests. Not everyone does. I do. VR chat, a game. Is it a virtual reality chat? Are you? I guess you got Gabsy's attention. Now I'm curious about VR chat. I have to say, is that so? I guess you're using a VR set and then you meet up with people and sort of hang out in a VR environment, fully three-dimensional. Do you have avatars that are like full body avatars as well? And it sounds really. I shouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, why wouldn't there be such a thing? It's just that don't think I've ever heard about it. I'm learning so many things today. Oh, right. Did you actually send me that picture of a bobbed tail, by the way? Um, no. Oi. It's on this. Oh, okay, okay. See here. If I go back to your messages, so that's. I don't really get what a bobbed means then. It doesn't look different from a regular tail to me. Does it just mean fluffy? I'm sorry if I'm being dense about that. Sometimes your ears get a little bit sore when wearing, I guess you know, wearing headphones for a long time. Who doesn't know that? Who doesn't know that? Bob means cut short. Okay. Thank you. I mean, I've heard it used to describe haircuts as well, but I thought it sort of meant something different relative to tails. Um, Thank you so much. I like learning new things. Blue-gray. It's so difficult to come up with. I mean, I know I'm just using the same colors over and over, but still, it's kind of tricky to come up with ideas for what the books are to look like. Watered your cacti. Cut a spider's life short. No, not the poor little spiders. Spiders are good boys. I know. This is not an opinion most people share. I should water Sir Henry. It's Sir Henry back here. Ah, there. I can't remember when I watered him last, if it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I guess it must be almost 3 weeks ago now. It's about the time period, time interval which is suggested, and which it seems to suit him. I've never kept a plant alive and looking that healthy for this long. I'm very proud. Very proud indeed. Some hefty tomes down here. An encyclopedia, perchance, on something. Am I inspiring you to live stream? What if you live streamed a game? What would you play, Connor? Asking because you mentioned playing something live before. No, not Sir Henry. Where will my spiders have their weekly meetings if you take Sir Henry? Sonny, have you considered that? Oh, sorry. I asked what game would you stream if you did, Connor? That's all I asked. And then Sonny absconded with Sir Henry, and I had to plead for his well-being. Ah, nice. Thank you so much for hanging out here, Connor. It was a delight. I wish you a good live stream. Minecraft. Yeah, I was just going to ask you to tell, so that people can know. Something from Steam. That's a large selection, but I hear you. They do have lots of excellent games. Anyway, I wish you a very good, I guess it will be evening, early evening for you. Okay, that's starting to look good, I think. I think I'll leave those shelves like that for now. Oh, well, let's put something... right? Took some time, but now we have... Now it actually looks like a... Like there are gaps among the books rather than there being books in the in the emptiness. I'm pleased. Oh dear. I'll maybe add some little trinkets up here on top of the shelves. Maybe try to eliminate parts of this oddness. Maybe I should just convert it to a, so it looks like part of that stone support beam. Or stone support then, it's not a beam. Come on. Focus, man. See you later, Connor. Connor, sorry. Oh, come on, I need a different brush for this, I think. More apt tool. Shorter and stubbier. Work this grey into the other grey. Come on. There we go. This needn't be particularly precise. So, I guess that's supposed to be. Oh, I get it now. Right. Can't for the life of me understand why I made it so bright before. Maybe that was just a correction of sorts. Basically fixed. So I'll probably be touching it up later. I feel like I'm going to be touching up this. Can't see that. This stonework here in general because it's looking a little bit flat compared to the bookcases. But nevertheless, for now it's looking okay. Is the picture not quite focused? Is that me imagining things? Sometimes it helps doing this. Come on, camera. Also, I have to say it looks To me, it looks better in real life than it does on camera. I'm not sure which one to trust. I guess some little details might be more visible on camera. Specifics. Camera reveals. I'm afraid. Okay, so some trinkets on top. I think I'm just going to put in shapes for now. Maybe come back to it later, or what do we do? It might be something I should do later. So let's just suggest stuff at the moment. So I have to have something that looks vaguely like a large animal skull. Okay, you say cranium, I think. It's too bright. There we go, I think. Just some vague indication. Maybe not quite a fossil. How's the books going? Yeah, well, they're going this. They're going like this. I suppose you're talking about this here? It's relevant if you're asking about the books in the picture or my book, because this painting is for the book. So this is how it's going. It's going well, I think. I'm not going to do. I thought I would achieve more today. I thought, basically, I thought I would fill more of these shelves today for sure. But hey, should I do that part too? I mean, well, I can try, can't I? Can do a little bit. You mean both? Aha. So yeah, I'm working. Again, it's they're inextricably linked. I'm happy to be working on this painting again for so many reasons. Because it's part of my book, so my book's being worked on. Because I've been having this painting in the background for forever, seemingly. So I'm happy that something's happening with it. Um, I want to show you guys what it looks like when it's finished. I want to see what it looks like when it's finished. And I also look forward to doing other paintings, but I should perhaps temper that a bit because it's going to be a while before this is finished, obviously, as you see. Even though I'm making progress, this is still just a relatively tiny part of this book of this painting. So we're going to be here many more times. But I can feel the progress. That's really nice. And I think the painting will still look almost the same from a distance as it has, but we'll soon get into working on, for example, this making, as soon as these shelves are finished, I'll paint the spiral staircase. I don't think I'll get to the spiral staircase today. I know I won't, because we can't, even if I wanted to, I couldn't paint yet. That's too wet at the moment. And I want to finish all this first as well. before going to the, continuing on the spiral staircase. Once that has been painted in its proper colors, which is other shades of brown, then you'll be able to see the difference from afar as well. And that's a bit exciting to me. Well, actually, it's not quite a year, I think, but it's close. Or possibly it's a year, like just about now. I think I might have started it in January last year. Oh dear. Take care of your finger, son. It has irked me that I haven't worked on it. At the same time as I've really enjoyed working on everything else I've been doing. But since I've also not been painting for quite a while, at least concentratedly, so that's another reason I'm happy about this. I think I mentioned that I would like to get to a point where I finish this painting and not start other paintings like it for a good long while, and instead do the sort of paintings I did during springtime, you know, so it's paintings that I could finish in a few days or a week or so. And what, I made only like 2, but still. Was it more than 2? No, right, it was like 3. It's this one as well. That one as well. So I made like 3, and including if you include the portrait, the like high-speed portrait, or the one that's in my time-lapse painting, that's 4 paintings. I like that, of course. It's wonderful to get to create something and see it take shape quickly. It's of course more, it's a more spontaneous feeling, more direct impact than in doing this. I'm always very proud when I finish one of these huge ones. Huge in the sense it's not huge in size, but it has so much detail that it's a huge project. I'm proud of it. Very proud of these paintings, but they take so long to make. So I'll try to keep that down to a minimum. I already have thoughts, ideas for several more paintings like this, of this quite well developed ideas for paintings of this magnitude. But I have to rein myself in. Even many of the smaller paintings I have planned for my story for the novella, there are some there that can potentially become very detailed. At least 1 or 2. They are towards the end though, so I might be able to, afford doing that then, once I've created a few other paintings. We shall see to what extent I can resist. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Capsy. It means so much to hear it. I really mean that too. It warms me. I do fashion design and writing and coding, but I'm a beginner at all those things. You might say that I've been doing fashion design for some time, but still doesn't compare to what I know about painting. Painting is the thing that I think I have the greatest ability in of all things that I do in my life. No other skill I have compares in level to painting. So it's extra important to me. went faster than I expected. Perhaps not so surprising. It's a much smaller section. So, should I put some books up there as well? I mean, why not? Oh, cool. I'm very happy to hear that too. You do know that I have like 100 more of those, right? If you need them. Oh, they're for sale, though. I have to say, I won't be giving any more away of those to non-patrons. Very glad to hear it though. That makes me very proud too. And I hope you find your print so you can relay it to this. It's obviously very sophisticated person, you know, of good taste. Person of great intelligence and integrity, I can tell. Yeah, that looks so much better. I'm probably going to tone down the shelf colors down here once they dry a bit to something more akin to that. Up here, this looks better, I feel. And I did tone these down before, but not enough. It will be. I will do it more. Oh, cool. You mean they were inspired to write stuff? Yes, Luna, more books. There's going to be so many books. I mean, don't know if you noticed before when I panned. Let me show you. Again, it's a bookstore, so let me pull back here a bit for the sake of showing off. You can see just a tad there. I actually painted a little bit there behind that guy, and of course, actually, I have filled in like just in grayscale. This is going to be colored later, obviously, colored in and adjusted to some extent, and fill with much more detail. But if you like paintings of books, you'll get your fill eventually here. I can tell you that. It's going to be so much more. And stuff lying on top of these shelves, obviously, everywhere. People walking about here, reading books. Little tables everywhere. This is going to be a little reading nook also here and there. And yes. I like that we're starting to have some color in the painting, though. Nice, Gabsy. I'm so glad to hear it. And getting curious. I hope you'll... Sorry, let me know if that book becomes available somehow. Anywho. Sorry, just stretching my back a bit. I never ever sit in a good position when I paint, especially not when I'm painting with, you know, while streaming. So for the last year or so, most of my painting has been done on stream, just sucks. But I've never been, or it has been extremely rare for me to have a good working position when I paint. Maybe I should work on that. I should think about it now. I'll try to think about it now. At least somewhat. Just the position I'm in is somewhat absurd. Oh yes, I was thinking about getting a... That's the idea I had yesterday about having some sort of mechanical arm that suspended my camera, so I wouldn't need to have the tripod here and I could relax more. If I can remember that tomorrow, I'll try to go by a hardware store and or something similar and get something of the kind. That would be so helpful. Oh, I'm getting really excited about it now. You know, and you know, if it was one of those microphone stands, it would be fantastic not to have these headphones on either. But that then I'd have to shell out, or just one of those shirt mics. Maybe those aren't so expensive. Maybe I can get one of those. I mean, I do this a lot. I should invest in such things because I really don't like wearing these headphones very much. I mean, they're good for gaming, and that's about it. And I'm not entirely sure why did I get them and not another kind of mic. Was it because I also wanted to use these for gaming? It's possible. Or did I somehow think that I would be doing things that wouldn't allow me to have a shirt mic? Or a lapel, I think they call it a lapel mic. I'll look into those things tomorrow if I think I will have the time actually, so. Boy, some more freedom of movement here would be excellent, and to not have this camera stand would be like a dream after all these months with this thing. Anyway, you're saying when your mother decides to move, you could have a bigger room to build yourself a small library. Oh, the small library sounds dope. Actually, that's something I've dreamt of myself. I just I don't like my apartment enough to decorate it, and I don't have the money to move. Although I have started a process of renovating the apartment so I can sell it and hopefully move to a place that I actually enjoy living in. Don't get me wrong, it's an okay apartment. It serves its purpose. I don't. It's not like I suffer. It's just it's not exciting. I haven't had an apartment I was excited about in so long. Over a decade ago. Then I had one I really liked. And it's, you know, I remember that feeling, how it was to think about all the ideas you have for your decorating, as you say. I miss that. And being excited about your living space. I haven't been that since I moved here. This is just... It's practical. It makes sense, but... It doesn't excite me. And that's a bit sad. really design my workspace as well. I'm spending even more time in my apartment than I used to, you know. You have a phone clamp that you can put anywhere. So you can clamp your phone anywhere? Is that what you mean? Or you use it to clamp your mic to you? Clamp your phone to yourself when you record? Those few times when you do record? Or don't quite follow? See, there is a video recommending some good budget mics. I can share it with you later. Sure. Although, I will I like inspecting the stuff I buy. So when I buy tech stuff, I usually do so even if I research it online to find things. I usually go for things I can find physically in stores around Copenhagen, so I can go and have a look at it, see what it looks like, see if it would fit, you know, dimensions wise and all that. That sounds good. Yeah, there are several stores that probably that sell all the things I need. It's just sometimes you just don't think about these things. But I'm obviously serious enough about this YouTubing stuff. That's probably one reason too. I guess these headphones were cheap and they filled two purposes. I'm a gamer, so I liked having them for gaming, and so I can use them for that if nothing else. Oh, right, that's the other thing. I had when I bought them, I had planned to do much more Let's Plays. I started doing Let's Plays. You're probably aware that I have a short list of Let's Play videos, like 4, on my YouTube channel, which I made early last year. Didn't go very far, but I mean, it's not like I don't like the idea, it's just that I don't really have the time. But now I know what I'm doing here on YouTube. Or at least I have a much better idea of it and what I'll be doing in the near future, so it makes more sense to invest in more specifically targeted gear. Or purposeful gear, you might say. Yep. I'm inspired. Used a mic ad for Nintendo Wii 7 years ago. Where is it you live, Luna? If you don't mind. Like, do you live in a... I mean, do you live in a big city, or... I guess you don't, if you don't have such stores. Live in the countryside? Forgive me if I'm wrong, but was it in Mando's stream we talked about where you live, and you said you live in Egypt? Or am I completely in the wrong here? Or am I completely wrong about that? I seem to remember it was you. Seems very familiar. The sound isn't there, but the mic works. I don't understand. What you mean by that? Okay. So I suppose you live elsewhere than Cairo. It's not like I'm... To my mind, Egypt is like... It's the Nile Delta, which has so much... Like the cultural and commercial center of Egypt is there, and then you have people living along the Nile, basically, and fewer and fewer the further south you go, roughly speaking. That's my idea of Egypt. And I guess there might be a few people living along the sea coast. Boy, my internet's slow. What's happening here? It's because I'm streaming. That happens sometimes, but usually not this badly. I'm trying to open Google Maps. Bitte. Haha, no you aren't. I'm not wrong about Egypt? Is that what you mean? Sorry. There we have Cairo and Alexandria, Port Said, and such. It's super green. Right around there. It looks so. It has such a super distinct, look. Egypt with that like green snake going through it. If you look at a satellite view, Google satellite view, huge, or like a shower head almost. Huge shower head at the Nile Delta, and then sort of like a long green hose stretching down into further down into Africa. And the rest is just seemingly barren. It's fascinating to look at. I guess someday I'll have to go to Northern Africa or the Arab Peninsula, somewhere, and have a look at these countries, because they look so different from everything I'm used to. What does it feel like to be out there in the... Especially, is it a very distinct border? It looks like it's super distinct. Like it's green, it's green, it's green, it's green, and then nothing, just sand or rock or gravel or something like that. So fascinating. I've sat and pored over maps. I love looking at maps, by the way. I'm a bit of a freak that way. And Egypt's certainly one of the places I've looked quite a bit at. But just sort of marveling at over how different it is. It looks fake, super green for either side of the Nile, and then rock, looking almost white or creamy from some distance. Cool. Gabs says approaching tired time. Yeah, I mean, I am too. I won't be streaming for much longer. I'll be painting a bit more, and then I'll be putting some more books on those shelves, and then I'm done, I think. So yes, good night, Gabsy. Thank you so much for hanging around and sharing all your thoughts and ideas and such. It was great. This has been a great stream. I love this stream. It's so nice to have what I call a lot of people. And you say they are looking super different, but I kind of like it. Luna. I guess you were agreeing on the disparity between of Egyptian landscapes. Yeah, I'm very curious. about such parts of the world. It's like that though, when you drive from Alexandria to Cairo, you see all the fields and the green surroundings. It's kind of bizarre how fast the rocks and stuff are back though, but it looks awesome. Yeah. Oh, right, I have actually experienced something sort of similar once. I mean, not. I'm sure it doesn't look like Egypt, but Iceland was. I've been to Iceland once, and that was a trippy experience because there's very little vegetation on Iceland compared to most other places. Um, it's mostly rock. I was there in summer, by the way. I guess there's quite a lot of snow in winter. Just rock, 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 rock. And I know they have like two what they call forests. They're not. I know how large they are, or rather how small they are. They're little patches of filled with trees that they have to provide the bare necessity of timber that anyone might have. And then you come to, so going from the Reykjavik airport, whatever that was called, to Reykjavik, the capital. And the capital, of course, the capital is much like any other Scandinavian. It's Iceland's not in Scandinavia, by the way, but it's in many ways a similar culture, and in other ways not. But we are closely related historically. Um, so it doesn't look very different from any other medium-sized Scandinavian town, because Iceland is small, so there's not a lot of people anywhere. So they have, the houses have gardens and they have little parks. They have trees. The trees are kind of stunted. They don't have big trees at all that I could see. But gardens, lawns. It's just that it's sort of placed in the middle of this rocky wasteland. It looks so weird. Like if you took, I guess it's probably quite similar to the experience in Egypt. Just rocky wasteland. Then suddenly, someone did a cutout, and here we put a lawn, really nice cured lawn, and a house, and some trees, and some a shrubbery, and some flowers, and then wasteland. Looks like a movie set, or it's so otherworldly to me, anyway. Really interesting. I don't know. Maybe you've been there. I'd actually like to go back to Iceland at least once, because I was there with a friend, a Chinese friend, who used to work there, and she was in a car accident when she was there, um, and so she was a very serious car accident. She had quite serious brain injury, and so she was taken care of. She's fully recovered now, by the way. This is many years ago, but it was not certain that she would recover fully, and she was taken care of. She was basically reverted to a child mentally for a long time, and she was taken care of by the tiny Chinese community there. And since China, Iceland's tiny, the Chinese community is even tinier. So she knew basically every Chinese person in Iceland, I guess, and they all helped take care of her. Very nice of them. So when we went there, she of course she went to visit all those people. So my days, instead of sightseeing Iceland, we basically spent our days going to different Chinese people in Reykjavik and hanging out. Um, did I manage to be dramatic? How fortuitous. Um, so I've been to the Chinese embassy in Iceland, which I think is not something not many people have been to, but but I haven't seen much of Iceland. I've only seen Reykjavik. I've seen Reykjavik well enough, but basically nothing else except for the ride to and from the airport. car accidents are scary. Man. It was noticeable for several years after. It took her a long while to recover. And I don't think she's quite the same she was as before. You know, I knew her for several years before that. But there was such a big gap between her. First of all, I didn't meet her for like a year before she started working there. And then I didn't meet her for another year when she recuperated. And she contacted me when she was well enough to do that. So it was like a gap of 2 years since I'd met her before. When I met her again, and then she was noticeably, you know, slower. She had difficulty speaking English specifically, and I could tell she was different then, but she got better. So slowly over the years, she got better, and it's just that I think she's back to the way she was before. It's just I can't really remember exactly how she was before. So um, I think she's well enough. I mean, she's an English teacher. She was studying English. That's how we met. Um, she's an English teacher at the university level. I mean, she does that, and she works a lot and with at that level. So obviously, all her mental faculties are back to normal levels. I'm glad to, for sure. This is many years ago now. So nowadays she has an adorable little daughter, who is like 4 years old, maybe 4.5 even. I sometimes go to China to see them. She lives in a place called Ningbo, which is quite close to Shanghai. Not many people know about Ningbo. It's a big city, more than like 5 or 6 million people. But Shanghai, on the other hand, is one of the largest cities in the world. So it's like it's tiny compared to that. That's China for you. A lot of things are big in China. Yeah, return for the sightseeing. Yes, indeed. I would like to see like. I mean, it's not that there are a whole lot of things I'm anxious to see there. Maybe go, out into the countryside a bit and look at just take a walk in the mountains. And then there's this place called the Blue Lagoon, which seems dreamy. Like it's like a hot water spring with bluish water in it. Like it has bluish clay in it, apparently. Um, and all the photographs look really inviting. Like it would be cool to be, and it is, just like everything else. It's in that rocky wasteland, and just suddenly a pool of, I guess, magically looking water. Flying in over Iceland was amazing because you were looking down on mostly rock, but I guess there's so many lichen and kinds of moss and algae and such growing on the rock and elsewhere that they were, the rock had these striking colors like red, yellow, strong red, strong yellow, orange, green. So I think there's lots of vegetation on it. It's like a different world. So maybe, yeah, as I said, maybe going into the countryside and looking at that up close could be really cool. Or standing on a ridge or mountain and looking out over such a landscape. It's probably good. Where was it did you used to live in the UK before? Or where was it you moved from? believe you said you moved from, or was it Germany? One of your parents is from Germany, something like that? Sorry. Oh, we need to put some red books in here as well. Well, you don't have to, but I'd like to. Yeah, from Germany. Okay. Yes. I guess I might combine it. I've never been to the United States either, but I'd like to go. And I know a lot of flights to the United States go via Iceland, so, or at least it's very common. So it's common to fly. It's common to fly via Iceland when you go to the United States. So you could make like a stop on the way there. That could be a good way of doing it, I think. I see. Which part of Germany? Like southern or northern? Because northern Germany is a lot like where I live here in Denmark. It's basically the same part of the world. Southern Germany is more mountainous. Definitely not like Denmark. Denmark doesn't have a... It has some hills that you, at a stretch... No, none of them could be called mountains, not even close. It's just, they're more like slight unevenness in the landscape. Like someone forgot to iron it. But hardly that, even. I believe Bavaria is in the south. Back to Google Maps, I guess. Yeah, Munich is in the south, isn't it? Yep, indeed. Indeed it is. Or München, as you say and we say in Sweden. I have a good friend, very good friend, who lives in Zurich. Which is of course in Switzerland, but I mean I suppose looking at the map, I think the landscapes are very similar. Quite hilly, not quite in the Alps, but almost. So very hilly terrain, very beautiful. Zurich with the surrounding countryside. Actually, everything I've seen of Switzerland is very beautiful as far as nature goes. Some parts of Zurich are terribly boring, but it's a should I say pretty city? It's a neat city. I wouldn't call it fantastically beautiful. It's not that it's ugly. It's just I find it a little bit boring compared to many others. It's probably the lack of colors. The Swiss aren't really colorful, at least not the people living in Zurich. It's so noticeable. There's this one street in central Zurich which is much more colorful than the others. You can tell they really tried their hardest to be lively, to give it color, and you can almost feel that they didn't really want to put color on their houses. You know, it's should we really? No, maybe we should have a bit more white in this red. You know, we should thin it out. It's we're not clowns after all. Like you can feel that attitude because beige and gray are the are the kings of color in Zurich. Switzerland is fantastically beautiful, as I said, and it's not that Zurich isn't beautiful, but among beautiful cities, it's the most boring one I know. It's an odd thing to say, but that's how I feel. I laughed out loud when it was like I think it was. I don't often walk on that street, but we went walking on that street this when I visited last time, which is it's almost a year ago now. Oh, it's like 8 months. I usually visit in the spring, um, and we came into that street, and I could. It was so clear. Oh, they tried to be. We need to look like a like other European medieval cities or city centers do, colorful, um, sort of skewed houses and all that. But you could also tell they didn't really like it, which is charming in and of itself. It's the local attitude, and that's worth something too. For sure. And I've had many good times there. There are some amazing views around. It's from the city you can see the Alps. I guess you could you see that from where you lived in Bavaria? In Zurich, from many places you can see in the distance you see the Alps. You're surrounded by hills on all sides. There's the Zürichsee, big lake, and looking out across the lake to the south you see the Alps sticking up in their snowy glory, snow-covered glory. It's fantastic view. Should I? Is that enough for today? There seems to be a book missing, at least one. Oh the backs of my legs are cramping up enormously right now. They don't want to sit here anymore. I'll endure just a tad longer. Gonna go running tomorrow. I look forward to that. Ow! 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 Save me. Ah! Oh, I'm jealous. You growing up with that view. I lived in Italy for a year when I just moved from home when I was 20. I moved down there when I was 19 and I turned 20 there. And I lived in this quite awful apartment. I rented a room in an apartment which housed 3 other guys, students. It was a sucky room. It was cold. It was bare. It was sadly furnished. But the view was breathtaking. I lived in a town called Perugia, which is smack dab in the middle of Italy. It's on a large hill or small mountain, and I had a view which was a valley. Like, it's surrounded obviously by valley, and then many kilometers to the north, I think, was an entire mountain range, and that was my view. I woke up every day looking at that mountain ridge, bathed in the orange glow of the rising sun, and with the purplish morning or alternatively evening sky behind. No view can compare to that, you know, that I've had from any abode later in life. That was amazing. Many stories on that topic. Oh, thanks. 3 hours. Have I been streaming for 3 hours? Yeah. I used to stream quite a lot longer, especially when I was just when I started. I only painted on stream, and I wasn't programming nearly as much, nor doing other things. So I had much more time to sit. So I had my longest stream ever was probably like 9 hours painting most of the time. But right now, I think this is enough. I'm happy with the results. So many books, and I think it looks quite gorgeous. Let me take you on a just maybe push the easel away a bit, just so you can get a view of what we've accomplished, so to speak. That's a good view of it. I think I'll pull back a bit more. Today we basically did this bit, filled it with books. All of these shelves we filled with books today, and also we tinkered with the shelves and a bit of the background and so on. Not a bad for an evening's painting. It looks so much better now. I know I'm looking at the monitor because that gives me a special kind of view. I'm so sorry. Yes, I have had some long streams, and you know, sometimes when I get engrossed in some task, when I don't have many different tasks on a day, I can get engrossed sitting. I painted for like 12 hours. I often code 10, 12 hours straight. When there's some task I really want to finish, and that's especially when it's something that's eluding me. You know, when it's something that I can't seem to get right, then I get frustrated. But you don't really want to leave until you make it, until you get it right. So it keeps you. When things go well, it's easier to step away because you're always satisfied with what you're doing. And today I'm quite happy. Thank you so much for hanging out for such a long time. This was a fantastic stream, and all of you guys made it wonderful. Very pleasant. Probably won't stream tomorrow. I think I'll try to focus on something else, get some coding done, and maybe a few other things. But I probably will stream a couple more times at least this week. Two or three, I believe. How old am I actually? I will turn 38 on the 21st of this month, so next Monday? Yeah, in 1 week. No, that's Tuesday. Sorry, Tuesday. In Tuesday, 1 week from now. In 1 week and 2 minutes, apparently, I will be 38 years old. So I wish you. I guess it's quite late for you as well. Maybe you're 1 hour behind us here in Scandinavia. It's almost midnight here. So thank you, and good night. And to anyone else who's watching, I wish you a good time of day. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye. Hope to see you again.